I mean,
I
you
know.
can just change it. It's kind
Oh,
of, I guess,
I
up to the
see.
teams, if you know what I mean.
So they set a tire.
Yeah, correct.
One side doesn't fully trust the other.
uh, well, you just feel a little more comfortable, I suppose. Anyway, here we are getting underway. So this is the first game, obviously, between these two on SY Dry Arabia 4 vs 4. Why don't we take a brief moment, quickly introduce the players? It is going to be Nikov FedEx, Efrodita, aka Juan, and Martin, perhaps better known as Patine, for the Argentinians here. Uh, quick look at the civs. It's Mayans, Huns, Mongols, and Spanish, and the same for the Hong Kong team as well. Hong Kong team will get a bit of a boost here with the return of one of their players here, Monday, who was missing from, in particular, last week's matchup they had against Turkey. In addition, of course, Tammy, probably better known as Ding, considered their best player. We've also got Rats and Eason here.
Now
Well,
they are still missing Kyo, and that's worth mentioning. He's another really strong player, probably a little bit stronger than Eason and Rats, I would say,
mm-hmm.
depending on what kind of shape he's in.
So
And
perhaps
the other,
not 100% here, but yeah, go ahead.
yeah, the other thing worth noting is that Gary is not playing, which is kind of surprising. For me, I thought uh, the Argentinian team would use Gary uh, instead of Martin, but
Mm-hmm.
I guess not. I don't know if that's a choice that was made or if Gary's
Yes.
just not available for today's game.
I think I saw him in the lobby, and it's like I think last week when they were playing against or maybe that was 2 weeks ago, or whenever it was against Turkey. I remember having this similar conversation where they used Patine a lot instead of
Oh, I see.
Gary.
That's
Um,
interesting.
so I don't know if that's something that I think Wack, who was with me
No.
at the time, was suggesting is that they obviously Nika, FedEx, Juan, and Gary played a ton together, and maybe they just want to get some competitive matches in with Petit, try to get him more acclimated with the rest of the team in matches or maps that maybe they'll feel he would be of great use on. I know it does, from what I remember. I mean, Petit, I think, is most well known for or being stronger on water, and they'll definitely use him there. But yeah, well, why not in the group stage? Take some time.
Yep. Now, what do you think about the positions of both teams?
Well, it's Spanish flank and Mayans pocket for the Argentinians. Um, we've basically seen every time in this situation, it's gonna be a wall and a sling from the Mayan player, FedEx in this case. Be
Yeah,
shocked if they did something different.
I think that's a really weak combination. I mean, if you were to play it straight up, if you were to not sling and just play a normal game, I think with your Spanish being the flank and the mines being the pocket, you'll really struggle because the Spanish player, he can't make archers, he can't transition crossbows and so on. And then the Mayan player going plumes will be extremely slow as well. So it's really hard for them to hold off the early aggression. So I think that's one reason we end up seeing Sling get used so much when these two civilizations are combined. It's because otherwise they would really struggle in the early stage.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see if they decide to do that. One thing worth mentioning is that Ethan already stole two sheeps from the Spanish player. And like I said, Spanish is the weakest civilization. So, um,
For early game, you mean?
yeah, early game, yeah, for sure. Even late game, I would say they're. I mean, they offer a great team bonus, which is why they're picked. But the other three civilizations are probably superior in early and late game. Maybe you could argue.
Quite a few pauses here. it seems. Hopefully, this isn't lagging too much. Obviously, this is geographically quite a large distance between these two teams. You're at like 420 or so?
422. Yep.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it is a bit choppy here, and you can see Juan here luring without Loom. Hopefully, it's not too laggy for him, but it does appear like he'll be okay. It will be a quite damaged villager,
Yes.
but it'll be a living villager. Mm,
This is definitely gonna be interesting because I definitely don't see an easy wall for FedEx. He can wall, but it's gonna be a little bit tough. We'll see if they will go for the sling or not. Looks like they're pinging already uh where Juan could potentially wall, so maybe they're gonna go for somewhat of a team wall.
mm. Yeah, like you
Have another
mentioned, of course, that
pause.
open. Yeah, it seems they're having lag issues. I mean, you can see even what like 4 minutes in, they were asking if someone was FP between each other. So hopefully we didn't lose it. Let me quickly check the lobby. No, looks okay. But yeah, as you mentioned, quite an open base here for FedEx to the right side of his town center. Yet not something that they've decided they would like to call a restart for. Um, it is also Mine's Pocket on the opposite side, by the way, for the Hong Kong team. Monday playing in the red here,
Yep.
who's Ding's Pocket playing as Mongols, but they also have a Spanish Pocket as opposed to a Spanish flank
Yeah.
in
I
this
I personally
situation.
don't like I don't like a Mayan pocket with a Mongol flank either. I think that's not the best combination because usually when you're the Mayans, the flank um is kind of left weaker because he has to fend for himself for a
Mm.
longer period of time, and usually you don't want your Mongols to be left weaker, right? But I'd rather have a Mongol flank than a Spanish flank when I'm playing Mayan pocket. I think ideally in a 4 versus 4, I prefer having Mayans on on the flank.
It's worth noting here, Tammy or Ding is going for quite a wall here already. You can see him already with all these palisades up to the left side of his map, and
That's interesting.
what
I
is
wonder why. I wonder why he's walling this early with Mongols.
yeah, usually we often see, kind of like scout builds as the flank on Mongols.
Yeah, you could play a bit more aggressive, and you don't want to. I guess I would say waste your resources or time doing walls when you could invest them in an early aggression.
Oh, are we finally going here? Just check the lobby, make sure they didn't go back or anything. Yeah, I think they've hopefully sorted their issues they may have been having connectivity wise out. So yeah, as mentioned, I mean, it's interesting seeing Ding wall up so early. He's also loomed already. Though, well, can't really blame anyone for looming in this lag.
It's a good thing he did because there was a wolf right by where he's walling. The wolf is
Yeah, there he
kind
comes.
of close to his base. Typically, the wolf, wolves are not that close. This one is.
And you can see Monday already queuing up some walls too. You can see they've basically pinged where they want a team wall. It is going to be a team
Oh
wall
man,
from Hong Kong here.
is that gonna be the new thing? Team walls in Arabia? It seems like we're seeing more and more of that recently.
And this
I
is
I
this is
see the
quite an early one too.
yeah I see the German team doing this a lot, and now the Hong Kong team. Um, but yeah, that's interesting for sure.
I mean, just from the view where you can see kind of the already placed walls, it's already almost completely walled by placement. There's a narrow gap here
Yeah,
between Mundy and Rats,
absolutely.
and then
So
just
are
the
they all?
north. But wow,
This this can be interesting. Are they all gonna go for a boom or
Yes.
what? We'll see. And if they all fully wall and Argentina decides to sling, the sling is gonna be highly ineffective. If the whole team is walled, then they're gonna
No.
be in a really safe position to defend that sling.
yeah. Let's see how quickly the Argentinians are able to kind of recognize what's going on. I
Yes.
think Martin's probably already seen at least the walls from. Yeah, he sees Tammy's walls. Well, it's much of the same from Argentina. A little bit slower to get the walls up, but you can see
Yes.
Juan and FedEx both getting their walls up.
Yes.
I'm not sure they're going to end up going all the way to Nikov's base here. Nikov has, if he just wanted to wall in himself, he could do it very easily, though.
Yeah, you know what's really interesting? This
Yes.
team walling business, we didn't see that too much. Um, I guess like a couple of years ago, and I think some of it has to do with players using TeamSpeak more and more. And now that they use TeamSpeak, they can coordinate team walling a lot easier.
Hmm.
You know, something that they didn't do before, perhaps. But it's kind of interesting how the communication changed and changed the way the game is being played.
It is natural to see strategies evolve over time, I suppose. And I mean, certainly you could see how quickly, how early, after basically just scouting your own base, everyone on both teams really was able to recognize where the team wall needed to be.
Yeah, but I mean, imagine having to type that out, right?
Yeah.
You definitely wouldn't be nearly as efficient at communicating where everybody should be walling. So I like it. The being able to definitely seems to help a lot.
And it does
Um,
seem it's going to be a full team wall here from Argentina as well.
yeah, Martin is going for the drush, but obviously it's not gonna do much because they're fully walled at this point.
Tammy's almost double walled at this point.
Double walling, and maybe we're gonna see a triple wall being the stone wall for Revo.
Wow.
Yes.
This is interesting. You have to say the wall that the Hong Kong team has here, it seems more efficient. The way it kind of is
Yeah,
almost dividing the map in half. Whereas when you look at like say FedEx's walls, it gives up a lot of land where you could kind of be kind of really close to the bases of Nikov and FedEx here.
yeah,
Wait,
and
juts in.
I don't think it's because Hong Kong are better wallers because FedEx is definitely a top waller. It's his number one skill. Um, I think that just has to do with the map itself. So all credit goes to the Argentinian walling abilities. I don't want to take that away from them.
I suppose you wouldn't. Mundy harassing a little bit. Obviously, the Eagle Warrior in Dark Age will be stronger than the Scout, but he's obviously never really going to get anywhere when the Villager's also there. And Nikov's kind of walled himself on the right side of his base. He's not really kind of included Martin in the team. While Martin's going to have to wall over to Nikov himself, it appears. We'll see
Yeah, well,
just how good their communication is here. It is open right now, and yeah, there he goes. Well, and it's actually still open.
like Mundi is stealing another pair of sheep. The Argentinian team down to 4 sheep total. I don't know how much that matters at this point. I mean, usually those little things matter a bit more when you're playing like an aggressive game, but playing a full wall game, then the little advantages stop counting so much.
Stonewall's
You think
already for Monday here.
they're gonna go for Boom and Imperial Age fighting? Is that what we're gonna see? Both teams are gonna be booming.
Oh man, I sort of hope not, but that may
Well,
be the
looks like
case.
FedEx is doing his famous sling, I think.
Mm,
And looks like some great execution by him so far. Researching coinage. So I think the Argentinian team is going to be in trouble. Um, Going sling against a team who's fully walled is usually suicide. You're not able to do any damage at all.
when they see, I mean, they've obviously scouted that they are fully walled. I mean,
Have they?
is it
So if
is it too late
the,
for them to switch up, let FedEx go to Castle?
maybe they
I don't
don't
know.
realize that they're fully walled. They've scouted some portions of walls, but sometimes you hope it's only one guy or it's only partial. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
hard to say. So maybe they don't know. It's hard to say. The other thing that they can be counting on is if you notice Juan is on stone, so he's going for a castle. So he might be relying on an aggressive castle drop, or maybe conquistadors and petards to blow up the stone wall and get inside.
Hmm.
We'll see. So he's not going for knights. He's going for a castle. So the sling can still be somewhat effective. If he was going for knights, the sling would be completely ineffective, I would say.
Well, here's what's it's worth noting. Mundy has only made the market. He's going to be slinging as well here for the Hong Kong team. It's two stables up north from Eason as well. So they're not going for a boom here. They are going to do well, pretty much the Argentina strat themselves. Try to beat them at their own game
Uh,
with the wall and sling here, it appears.
I don't like that at all. If you're fully walled as a team, um, even if you want to sling, I prefer you do a castle age sling because the walls are gonna buy you enough time for the Mayan player could drop two town centers, boom boom till minute 20 or 21, and then start slinging right there, and then like he'll outsling the feudal age guy by so much. It'll decide the game, I think. Yeah, I don't know about this. I thought Hong Kong had the edge. Uh, Changing my mind now, especially because they're going three stables against the Conquistadors.
Yeah, that'll
I
be interesting.
I think the Conquistadors are much more effective in a situation like this.
It's interesting. You mentioned the possibility to go, if you do want to sling in this situation, to go for like the Castle Age and then sling. I mean, there's very popular, well-known strategies on Black Forest, for example, of people who will go Castle Age 3TC and then sling around 20-21 minutes. Uh, and you wonder if that might be more effective in a situation like this, where you've got the walls up. You're probably not gonna your flank's not gonna die at 17 minutes if you don't help them. To get that extra resource count up, I mean, it's stone walls everywhere for the pretty much the entire Hong Kong team here. Did it need to be a feudal age sling from Monday here? I'm sure he's very capable of pulling off a castle age sling. Anyway, Stonewall's first and town centers
Yes.
actually from Juan, as maybe he's gonna focus more on eco first before military. Seeing what he's up against, he's at least scouted the walls of Easton. I'm sure he's talked to his teammates. They've seen some of the stone walls, like Martin with his militia behind two layers of stone walls here.
Yeah, the only thing I can think of is maybe Hong Kong didn't realize that Argentina fully walled as well. I don't know why else they would try this, especially like going nights and so on.
Yeah, are there places it's not reinforced with stone walls right now? Maybe towards Nikov a little bit, and completely towards the south towards Martin, but that's far for Eason to go. But he's got this workshop up.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe that's gonna be interesting. We'll see because right now, Juan doesn't even have his castle up. He's still working on that. He doesn't have any conquistadors. So and FedEx of course is feudal age, so
Yes.
he can't defend his walls as easily with a mangonel of his own. So if Eason manages to get out, two rams and a mangonel, he can get in very fast,
It's
right? And
interesting he sent that forward immediately towards FedEx, towards the slinger.
so I guess he realizes they realize what's going on, and maybe this is what they had planned all along. I don't know. He's also, oh, look at that. He's also making a monastery. So he
Hmm.
probably realizes the sling is going for the Spanish player, or that some sort of sling, he knows some sort of sling is happening, and he's doing the
There's one
monastery.
scout though, so he knows it's coming.
Yeah, but I mean, he was going in with the ram anyway. He didn't. He found out what was happening just a few seconds early, but not the biggest deal.
Yes.
He already has two mangonels out, and then the ram, so definitely doesn't look like he's going to be able to re-wall much. He's working on some walls, but we'll see how effective.
Oof. Yeah, there's villagers still in the danger zone. He's got to move them away.
Felix's chance to shine. What kind of walls he's capable of, what kind of a player he is.
So it
Yeah,
does
very
seem that everyone else
aggressive.
is just booming here, right?
Yeah. The other side is booming. So the other side, I shouldn't say the other side. The other two players are booming. So it's going to be an imperial fight. Martin is doing a funny boom. I mean, I don't call it funny, but it seems kind of slow. He's still at 2 town centers, 21 minutes in.
Hmm. Yeah, even with the walling, definitely should have at least had his third up by now.
Yeah. And Rats has a castle up, so he's gonna reinforce Eason with some conquistadors, I would assume.
Yeah, so who is actually going to be defending FedEx here? We know Juan's going to make some conquistas. Oh, he's making 4 barracks actually. So I guess it's going to be all up to Juan here.
Yeah, and that makes sense, it's the sling against the sling player.
On the bright side for FedEx here, I mean, he doesn't really have too much forward that is in danger now that he's kind of lost that first layer. He's going to have to back up to that second.
Yeah, no, the market is gonna drop fairly fast, right? There's no stone walls behind it right now. He is gonna try and get some up, I'm guessing. Just deleted the market, but that's the weak point right now. We'll see if the mangonels can stop it in time.
Yeah, he's just trying to get them through that. You can see that is what he's going for.
And if he can stop that and break through the market early enough, then he's gonna be able to get in before too many pikes are out. But it doesn't look like it. I think that
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of pikemen here. 4 barracks. Pikemen coming here from Juan. It's worth mentioning, though, as you said earlier, Martin is definitely behind the other booming players here. He's behind, the Rats and Tammy and Nikov.
no, he did rush. Everybody else just walled, but he rushed on top of the walling. And he did have to wall a little bit bigger than all the other guys because Nikov just said, "Screw it, I'm just worrying about myself."
Yeah. You can see Nikov's even like stonewalled places that he didn't need to stonewall. But
Doesn't trust Martin.
a little bit of a stonewall behind this market. It seems it'll buy enough time for Juan to mess up the number of pikemen that he'll need.
Yeah, Juan is in great shape, man, because um the boom that he did is basically you know, his economy is basically almost twice the size that Easton's economy is. So even if FedEx stops slinging him, he should be okay now, holding. And he has enough hikes out now anyway to be able to defend.
Easton running in with these knights, but he does now see these pikemen, and there's just too many for him to
Needs some
fight.
mangonel shots, yeah, good shot. So pikes are, they're really vulnerable to those mangonel shots, right? So a lot
Juan
of
is
people
in that
don't do that
staggered
often
formation
enough.
though.
Yeah, but regardless, especially when you start fighting and they bunch up, you want to fire anyway, even though you're hitting your own knights, but the knights have a lot more HP than the pikes. So even if you're hitting your own units, it's worth it. But yeah, Juan, you see how the way that Juan split his army is really good. So the conquistadors are going to clean up, of course.
Indeed they are. Felix has gotten some semblance of walls up on his wood camp, and he's not going to be able to harass them. There's just too many pikemen here. Easton is going to lose these knights.
Yeah. Fenix actually, I'm just looking at the stats, and he still managed to sling as much resources as Mundi. So that's really good. He's under so much pressure. He's walling, losing so much, and he's still able to sling a lot.
Yes.
So a lot of credit goes to him.
Yep.
Definitely excelling at this role, at the slinging role.
Pretty solid. Unfortunately, he is now falling about 14, 15 villagers. Population behind, plus he's now lost his town center.
Yes.
Yeah. But he did his job. Look at Juan's population. He's already sitting at 130. He basically doesn't need the sling anymore, right? FedEx should be able to rebuild his TC and then boom his way back to Castle Age, I think. And
FedEx,
Imperial
yeah.
eventually.
Juan is maybe not quite as ahead as the population makes it out to be, right? Though I mean, he's got a ton of pikemen that are taking up those army counts. He's actually, well, he does get a good number of resources, but he hasn't clicked up yet.
Yes.
Well, actually, it appears no one has. I thought I saw Nikov say he had clicked. Ah, yes, he has.
Yeah, the game is very even for sure still, despite what happened. Like you said, the pikemen are almost, they're not very useful. Once you mix in fully upgraded paladins and Mangadai in there, then the pikemen don't hold a lot of value. Definitely can't use them on the offensive as easily.
A couple of conquistadors up here for rats, but yeah, all he's able to do is get a couple of villagers to run away that were close to that wall. Oh my, I didn't see this. Martin's gotten quite aggressive with these stone walls to the outside of the base of, of Tammy here.
Actually, it's kind of crucial because it secured the corner for the Argentinian going at some point.
Would have liked to see him secure that gold too.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Far
the one in
corner.
the corner.
Yeah. And he may just
He
not have
could've-
seen it yet. He may end up doing that now.
Could have tried to wall where Tammy's wall is.
Yeah. Such a score advantage here for Juan. It's kind of funny. Something that Juan is very, very good at taking the feudal sling, like the initial 12-minute feudal sling, or whatever it is, or 12-minute feudal and sling, and booming with it, just doing a quick boom. I mean, you can see how it's put him so far ahead of even the people who are just straight booming, not even making army.
Yeah, I don't know. I think, like you said, the Argentinian strategy was better, but I think what would have been even better than that is, like we mentioned earlier, which is the Mayans doing Castle Age Sling. Like, imagine him doing Castle Age Sling to Tammy, who's Mongols, and then Tammy will just roll in with castles, Mangadai, and Rams. And you can't stop that, right? Like, because that Castle Age Sling basically counters walls, while walls counter feudal age sling.
Yes.
I mean, I think it's at this point
Yes.
pretty well known what the Argentina tries to do on Arabia. Certainly, I think the Hong Kong team came into this game knowing roughly what they were going to be up against. You know, depending a little bit on map position, and, you know, who spawned in which spot. But when they saw what what they were up against, I think they had a good idea of what they wanted to do. But maybe, as you mentioned, maybe it's not necessarily the best idea. Not that it hasn't worked out to some extent. Of course, they did kill the town center of FedEx. Can't underestimate that.
Yeah.
He's at 39 pop. By the time he's got this up, he's a good 25 behind Mundy, who's doing the same strat as him.
Yeah. Yeah, the only thing, like we said, Afro was ahead, but it's not going to be the biggest deal. You can see Easton is switching Cav Archers, so he's eventually going to go heavy Cav Archers. And then Rats is going to support him with the Ladins.
Tammy and Nick up, meanwhile, of course, as Mongols, you know what they'll be doing here. And it's 6 stables going up, 7 stables make it for Juan here. And with the resources he has stockpiled up, he can switch very easily here and quickly into Paladins.
Yes.
I feel like this is just not fun to play in right now. Just done watching the recording. The way it keeps starting and stopping.
Look at Mundi's wall. You see he has a bunch of houses there.
Yep.
It looks like a small village. And it's expanding. It's gonna be...
They keep on coming.
Yeah, man. I don't know. Why is he building all the houses there? Imagine a ram rolls in there.
You know, I have a tendency to do this too. And I'm like, yeah, and what are the chances that'll ever happen? But that when it does happen, it's like the most annoying thing ever. When you're like minus 40 pop. You're like 200 out of like 150. You're like, what the hell? So I'll feel for Monday if that happens. But I mean, well, he is a slinger, so I guess his pop won't be too high for a while.
What do you think? Mundi should go up soon?
I don't know. I mean, how are the? I mean, it seems like there's minimal economy or military for, say, Tammy. I mean, he's basically got the economy to support himself, minus trade he'll need or gold sling later on. It's probably just about true for everyone. Maybe Eason still needs a little bit, but he's getting there himself. So yeah, I mean, why
I feel
not
like
make
it's
that the
worth it.
advantage, right? You know
Yeah, like
FedEx
it's
isn't
worth it.
going up.
Worth it just to get the banking, and even if you still want to continue slinging, but at least sling with the banking and maybe one or two town centers or a market, and you know what I mean.
They have to know
You,
Monday is definitely ahead of FedEx. He can afford to stop bill production for whatever to go up here, right?
yeah, yeah, I definitely feel like it's worth it. Like 800 food, 200 gold, but once you get banking, it pays for itself. Definitely a lot of stocks. I think this is gonna be a really.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
remember
if it's lagging a lot, I don't know why they don't just try to save and restart.
it seems like I thought I saw them say something about that like 5 minutes into the game, and I'm surprised that they haven't gone down that path. It seems they said they'd try it and give it a go, and if it doesn't work, they'd save. But in any case, Mundy's doing this thing with this outpost to kind of explore the corner that I don't remember whose stream I was watching, but someone mentioned it about how it annoyed them, and now it starts annoying me too. It's like he builds the
You
first
can spread them
outpost.
apart further. Yeah.
Yeah, he just builds a second outpost right on the edge of the line of sight when he should build it further than that because the line of sight to the left of it would cover. But no, whatever.
Only 10 stone.
That's true.
Does
Yeah,
that
it's
really
not that
matter?
big of a deal.
Probably busy microing his economy hard.
His one town center.
Slinging is not an easy job.
Heavy cav archer coming in the middle. You can see Easton's trying to start building just outside of the base here of Juan, back towards where his forward was, which is now under attack by these pikemen. He's going to try to clean up these pikemen with the cav archers, but here come cavaliers from Juan from the north. They're almost completely upgraded, just lacking the last Imperial Age attack. And you can assume the paladin will be done at some point. It is, of course, a long research. Oh, Juan's actually going to lose the villager he's trying to make the market with in the very top corner. A little unfortunate for him. Or maybe not. Was there a scout there? Oh, it's Rats' scout, actually. So yeah, it's gonna die. Yeah, just reading chat, but
Yes.
yeah. So the point of the outpost is to try to find stuff in the corner. There's often extra resources like this gold mine, for example. Obviously, ideally, he'd have a scout alive, but that's not the case. Nikov still begging for the market from Juan, who's actually got his all his conquistadors up here now.
So look at the Argentinian team. They've managed to grab both, to an extent, they've grabbed both corners of the map, right? Or
Yeah, it
three
is true.
corners of the map, I should say.
Yes.
That's pretty big as the game goes on longer. I think that's going to be pretty huge.
Yes.
The Hong Kong team is allowing them to, take more and more of the map uncontested.
Yes.
You'd have to think they'd be thinking about where they want to trade and getting to a corner, but I only see the obvious corner that they're always going to control on the far right. Where do they trying to trade to? Oh, actually now Tammy is sending some stuff down towards the bottom corner to try to take it back, I suppose. He least got there in time to stop Martin from putting that wall across.
And the only thing is, they might end up fighting for it now, and usually, you don't want to be fighting for the corner you're going to use for trade. You want to have that protected already, and you want to have a lot of land between. You know what I mean. You don't want to be fighting right where your trade is.
Yeah.
Because it's going to delay you from starting your trade, or
Attack an enemy
trade
now.
cars, or
Yes.
whatever it is.
One thing
Maybe
to note,
we'll see it.
Yes.
Juan hasn't actually walled off that corner yet. We'll see if he does it after he builds these markets, but if they just open the wall Hong Kong by the edge of Easton's base, they can get right in on that trade. So hopefully Juan remembers to wall that.